Evangelicals lie about what changed 2000 years ago. You know, what was different 3000 years ago and what changed then 2000 years ago, and what you have in your documents. Because some of your documents, they are 3000 years old and older, and some are 2000 years old and younger. And what is the difference between the documents, the majority of the documents that are older and the smaller portion of the documents that are younger? Well, the difference is not in former times they did things and now we don't do things anymore, as evangelicals claim. No, they lie intentionally in saying these things. The difference is they did it out of a outwardly in a different reason than they do it today, and it's still the same as 3000 years ago and nowadays. 3000 years ago, they did the things in the same way. They just had outward rituals that we don't have nowadays anymore. You went to Israel, gave a calf, gave something, gave a lamb or things, a dove, and then you burned it, and they took, did several rituals. They made different salves, the ointment, and they burned incense, and they made a hut, where they came together and they all went to one place in Israel, and everyone who did not do that and did the wrong thing in the rituals had to die. Nowadays, all these things are still valid, all these things are still in place, and you still need to die if you don't do these things, but you do it in an outwardly different fashion. It's not that in former times they did things and worked things, and now we don't do things anymore and work things anymore. We just believe things, and it's just in your mind, everything. No, you still do all these things. You still do all these things, but you do it in a different manner. You do it in a different manner. You do it, you don't go there to Israel, to one place, to that one hut or that one tent, or later that one house. You can do it from your home, and this was the main difference and the big difference that changed 2000 years ago. That you don't have this one nation anymore where you go and where you do all these things, but now you can do it from all over the world. You don't have to go to Israel with a lamb and with, or a dove or things like that, or pay this amount of money to this priest and to that person who works there at this, place, at the sacred place. No, you don't do that anymore. You don't do that anymore. And that's why the people, they were killed by the Jews, by Israel, 2000 years ago, because they changed this order. And it was the legal obligation from the religious Jews to kill them up until that time. It was their obligation, because if they change these rules, they cannot even be changed slightly. If you just took a different salve, you needed to die. If you were a foreigner and you mixed things into this, and you were not allowed to do it as someone from Israel, you needed to die. There were even things that if someone is feeble and he just draws close to this place, he needed to die. He was not allowed to go there. And the people who allowed him, they were commissioned to kill them. And the people, there were good people who kept all these things. Evangelicals say, you cannot keep all these things. Well, your documents say otherwise. You just contradict the documents. There were people who kept all these things. There were people who said, it's not about that. Even 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years and prior, there were people who said it's not about exactly doing all these outward things. Well, but they still did it oftentimes. Oftentimes, maybe they did not do everything intentionally, because they knew it was not about these outward things. But some religious people, they always thought it was only about these outward things. only about them and not about what it's about. I mean, there is some morality behind it. They are not stupid. Israel is very smart, and it is the smartest nation in the whole world, and is above every other nations. And still to this day, someone who's a Jew is far smarter than anyone else. They don't do things just by outward rituals. They don't do it, and they oftentimes do understand it, but they don't tell the heathen. They don't tell us. They don't tell others what they really mean. Most of the things they do, they don't tell others. Oftentimes, I mean, they're religious people. This is how it is. So why did they do it? Why did they do it? Why did they do it? They did it out of some moral reason. Some moral reason. Why did they not eat no pigs, and they did not eat certain things and ate other things? Some birds were allowed, some, animals were allowed. Well, it has some morality behind it, and if you understand which animals they ate and why, you understand the reasons of these things. You do understand the reasons of these things. And today, you can eat everything. If someone says you're not allowed to eat this or that, he's an evil person. He doesn't understand what it's about. And you should not listen to that person. And you can eat what you want. I mean, you can agree with on some minor things, what to do and what not to do, of course. And you should not be against someone who is a good person. If he has something against something, you should not be a problem for him if you do something which he thinks is a problem. But you can eat everything. This is what it is about and was about. And you don't have to go to Israel. And so these things changed. These things changed. And I mean, what else did change? Well, the governments changed because they have no completely, utterly religious government anymore. It's not to be done in this way, that you punish someone because he's not keeping a certain feast day. They had to die. And it was right 2,000 years and prior to that they killed those people. It was right. If you gathered some wood on a day that was not allowed, where you should not work, and he should be stoned to death. This was right to do. But it's still, in this day, it is performed in a different way, but it's still valid. And it is even more strict than it was then. It is more valid. And it is more strict than it was then. You know? It's even more strict than it was then. You don't now kill people because they make a statute that they're not allowed, and then they revere that statute. This is not to be done anymore, but you still need to die, but not by the hand of the government. And if you don't keep this feast day or that feast day, you're not to be killed anymore. This is wrong. It's not to be done in a religious fashion, because nowadays people can choose. If they don't want to follow this religion, you don't kill them. You don't kill them. Let them do what they want. This was changed 2,000 years ago. And this was a big change because it took away the authority of Israel to kill the people who were against those things. And Israel did not like it, and then it was destroyed by the Romans because it was because of their evil things that they did. They got fate, destroyed them, and scattered them throughout the world until now. And they were very poor all the time and chased away and had no authority and no power up until now. Oftentimes, well, maybe some who are influential and are ruling the world, but as people in general, they were always chased and always the worst. I mean, treated in the worst way, which is wrong for the whole world to do to them. And still to this day, what a shame to be German, to be German speaker. What a shame. Worst country, the worst country. What they did in the war. But it's still, they rejected the things and reject the things to this day. And they got what they deserved. I mean, it's hard, but everyone gets what he deserves. Every country, not just Israel. People die, people have wars, people have all these things because they did these things. But do you understand? I mean, evangelicals, do you understand that the documents that you do have, all these documents that you do have, that they talk about what is the difference since 2000 years and prior to that? Do you know that this is what your documents are about? Do you know? This is what your documents are about. You did not realize that. All your main documents that were written 2000 years ago were always almost exclusively about one topic. What is the change now between 2000, between beforehand and from up until now? And it was so dangerous because it was against the country. If you were in Israel and said these things, it was against the law. You changed the law. You changed the law of the country, you changed the government. And you went against things that do deserve death penalty if you do go against them. And if you don't have the authority to do that, it costs your life. No stupid person would do such a thing just out of the blue, just because it crosses his mind. You need to be insane to do that. That person who came 2000 years ago that changed the whole trajectory of the whole world, the whole course of the world. If you have the authority, you can do that and it will change, and it did. But if you don't have the authority, you will go just down. They will kill you. And it was right what was said, and it was right what was changed. And Israel is not admitting that today. To this very day, they remain stubborn. It's the wrong thing to do that. But the Christians, they are not better. They're far worse, even because they twist it even far more than Israel does. Far more. Israel is far closer to the true religion than evangelicals and Catholics. They are outright anti-Christian. They're so far away, you just erase the documents that were written 2000 and beforehand. You just erase them, you evangelicals. You say it's not today, this was then, this is old, now we have something new and we don't regard it in this manner anymore as it was regarded then. Not one single sentence will ever be done away, and you will be obligated to keep every single sentence, just in a different fashion. Some evangelicals admit that, but then they, again, do away almost everything. Some do away more, some do away less, but the person who does away the least still does away everything, in my view. And I have the right view, and I have the right opinion. And it's not just a different view, it is a completely different opinion. We cannot have a different view of two different things. One is right, one is wrong. And if you differ in opinion, you differ in the substance of the opinion and you're just wrong. No two people can be right unless they say the same thing in different sentences. But this is not what I'm doing. It's not what you are doing. You all disagree, and I do disagree with you, evangelicals, and I tell the whole world that you lie intentionally about what changed 2000 years ago. Just place yourself into the feet of these people. If you lived 3000 years ago, if you cursed, what did you need to do? Well, you need to go to the temple, give something for it. Where is the temple? Well, you may go 3 days or something. If you go from top to bottom of Israel, you cannot do that in a day. It takes you several days, and if the sacred place is somewhere in the center, and you live on the outside of Israel, it takes you a few days to go there. When you cursed once, people did that unintentionally, and then they said sorry. Well, you need to go there then. They needed to go there several times a year. They often went probably once, but I mean, they were not always keeping everything as they should have, because I mean, everything was evil and it could not be done away with, and it was even dangerous to do the right thing. They killed you. But good people, good people were part of that society, and it was right to be part of that society because you could not step out of Israel. You should stay there. What was then with the heathens? Well, they should have done the best that they could have done in their conscience. They knew about Israel. They should keep also the rules there, or even become a member of them and keep their rules. It's possible to do that if you submit to all the religious rituals and you do them. Then you will be fine. You are a good person. And it is about what you do, and it is about being a good person. And I'm not a person who just looks at the outward rituals and forgets everything else, because this is the thing that 2000 years ago the people were against. It's not about what you do, they said. What did they mean? Did they mean that you should not obey your parents and things like that? No. They meant it's not about giving a lamb to some sacred place. This is what they said. It's not about what you do. It's not about the outward things that you do, but it is about all the moral things and internal things that you do, but not about mere outward things. It's also about outward things, and even rituals. They're still valid, and there are still some in place, and still some can be done, but if one wants to. But it is not obligatory, and it can be done in the wrong way, as in Catholicism oftentimes, but there's still more right as the Evangelicals regarding the rituals oftentimes. Because Evangelicals reject too much oftentimes, not all of them. Some are even the other side, don't reject enough, but Evangelicalism is so broad and there's so many wrong things and no one agrees, which is wrong. Everyone should agree with everything, you know. Yeah. What did I say before that? Well, talking about the rituals. The things that you do. Well, this is what they said. This is what they said, and this is what the documents were about. This is what all these documents were about. It's all about what you do. It's all about what you do. It is really all about what you do. It is all about what you do. It's about, not about these outward things, you know. They had to make this building, you know, and they made it in a certain way. Well, it all had a reason. This all had a reason. All these things. This has a reason, all these things. And if you understand the reason behind it, you're still obligated to do these things. Even in the same fashion, not outwardly, but inwardly. And if they did it in former times, inwardly in the right fashion, this change for them to what came afterwards, what started 2000 years ago, was a smooth change, was a smooth change, was a good change. They knew it should change. It was hard for them to understand. One of them did not understand it immediately. He just went on the way he was used to do and tried to kill the people that came. And it was a good thing that he did that prior to that. It would have been a good thing, but he misunderstood things. He did not understand the inward things, you know. He did not understand the reasons for all these rituals that Israel did. So he tried to kill those people. But then he found out through a miracle, you know whom I'm talking about. And then he was one of them, and then he was killed by his people, by the Jews, and he was chased from one city to the next city, you know. And it's still to this day, Evangelicals, Catholics do these things in this way, that they chase the people who want to change their system, which is wrong. It's the same elite, it's the same religious institution. It just has a different name. It's not Judaism, It is anti-Christian Judaism. The anti-Christian Judeo religion, the Evangelical Catholic Judeo religion, which is ruling the world, and it is wrong. There were some people who stood up against it, and the world was killed. And they explained the things in the right way, and the rulers of this anti-Christian Judeo-Christian and Judeo anti-Christian religion, well, they admitted that those people that they killed were right. They admitted it, that the people like me, that's why I'm confident, because they always, even towards me, more or less directly, they indicated that I'm right. This is what they do, because they have so much power, they don't care to state the truth, state the obvious, because they have the power. Nowadays, it's not really a government power, because you changed church and state relationship 150 years ago, a little bit more. I mean, you don't understand. Separation of church and state is wrong. It should not be separated. The church that rules should just be good, and should rule in a good way. Of course, some things should be separated in some way, but not as you teach. It's all wrong what you teach. I mean, you should not kill someone because he's not keeping a feast day and things like that. But the church should still say which people should be charged in which way to the government. The government should submit. Every government should submit to the church. And the church should be a good church. If it's an evil church, it would be better if it would be separated altogether. But it cannot be. An evil church will always be above the government, will rule it, whether it is obvious or not. And this also changed 2000 years ago. I'm not now off topic, it's still the topic. How do you wage war today? How was it 2000 years ago? Well, 2000 years ago, it was still allowed to defend yourself. It was still allowed. Nowadays, not even defending yourself is allowed. It is the same rule, but more strict. So nowadays you would not, if someone comes against you, you would defend yourself, kill them. You would not do that. Defend your family. Just be killed, die for it. Don't even protect your family with violence or your kids. You can flee. You can hide if they find you. They'll kill you. But that's just how it is. This changed. If everyone would do that, there would be no war. Because no one would start anything. No one would say, I'm just defending. You're always just saying, oh, I'm the one who defends. I'm the one. You started. I mean, there are always two people in the war. Always two people are guilty nowadays. In former times, it was different. But nowadays, as you should not even defend yourself, it became more strict, but the rules are still the same as 2000 years ago. They're still the same. It just is more strict. And if someone did not do something, he deserved to die. Well, nowadays it's more strict. You even deserve to die for the same things. It's just done in a different fashion. If you understand in which fashion, you will understand. So, I mean, former times they burned people who were doing wizard things, Nowadays you don't do that, because oftentimes it's just a religious notion. But if someone does these things and does really, and for a non-religious person does an evil thing, he still needs to die. But if it's a